I think so. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome to House Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm probably a little off the beat because there's a slight delay in my headphones. I just don't want you to think that I can't dance. Trust me, grab this video later and then do like this much of a shift and I'll be nailing it. Just wish I could do it live. No. Welcome, chat room. Hi everybody. Hit that like, share the show, annoy the maggot in your life. And by the way, I want to say thank you and welcome again to all the trolls we've had lately. It was a while where we had a dip in the trolls. You know, they were out, I guess they were hungover from the election and then they started hiding because Trump was shitting the bed so hard. And now they're back out there trying to like, you know, reinvigorate their rage boner by, you know, I don't know, filling the other side's chat rooms with claptrap. I don't know what does it for them. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but I appreciate them being here and spreading us out into the algorithm. When they write stuff in the chat, I got to tell you, as long as they're not, you know, racially or, you know, I guess sexist, bigoted anyway, as long as they keep their language to, you know, their big kid words, and steer clear of, you know, obvious bigoted language. We're okay. You know, they can have stupid ideas. Just watch how you say them here. That's all we ask. If you can. I mean, I do understand. Look, I've been asking a lot of these folks for quite some time. And between the two of us, we both know a lot of them are just stupid. They're just stupid. And they don't have any big kid words. They just live in this kind of like, this perpetual dunk fest that they wish existed in the real world, but it's only online, so they hide behind their burner accounts and piss into the wind. But look, again, if that's your idea of a good time, I guess it beats a sharp stick in the eye. So good for you guys, and best of luck, because you're doing awesome. Nothing, I mean, the number of clips I have right now of people going, I thought this would be going better. It's pretty fucking spectacular, I have to say. Okay, I think we even have a double up. I don't pre-watch these clips most of the time. There are occasional things, but like apparently, according to CSL, some of these are double ups, like clips that I didn't have time to watch in a previous episode, and other people on the right or the right adjacent or the fucking ultra psycho right, which would, I guess, be Jimmy Dore in that crowd, they're watching it, and so we get to kind of double up the idiocy. It's like when, I don't know, when Greg Kelly tells a personal story. It's twice as funny because it happened to him and it's pathetic, and he's telling it again. Greg, keep it to your fucking self, buddy. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a big fan of oversharing, but damn, dude. So now how you're saying how? Okay, I don't even know where to start with this, because. I mean, I guess it rests on, where's my little pointer? This is, I'm in this kind of a mood.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
There is a real shift in right-wing media right now between, I mean, the turd polishing is they are committed to it, and it is proceeding apace. However, there's only so much you can do before you go, I've got shit all over me, you know. It's kind of like, well, you know, no, I'm not going to say it. Anyways, here's a great example. This is somebody we don't normally cover because I think about the time I was going to cover him, the right attacked him from his own flank about some bullshit with the Daily Wire and all that nonsense. And that kind of like internet on internet troll bullshit, I find amusing, but like, when like, obviously you guys know I have my beef with TYT, but it's not a personal thing. I don't give a fuck. I don't like anybody over there. The irony that like Anna Kasparian has probably like in flip-flopping on her shit, she has suddenly taken positions that I've expressed before and she's getting slammed by going right wing or something, and when she's just marginally centrist on a couple of these things. But beyond that, she was shitty to me about the same feeling she has right now. There's other stuff she's gone off the deep end on, but like general stuff, like her shift, like she's realized she was full of shit or selling a bill of goods. And in her waking up to that, it isn't so much that she went against her own viewers, is that she was critical of a lot of other people for having those beliefs. And now she's like, duh. And you're like, okay, fuck you. So there's that kind of shit, right? But I don't know these people, and I don't care. I care about how it impacts voting. That's all I give a shit about, because I view TYT as an anti-democracy entity, that their whole goal is to diminish the Democratic vote, to mute the Democratic response by always claiming the Democrats are worse than they are, and all but a couple of members of the Republican Party are relatively harmless comparatively. That's the strategy. It has worked several times. It's a scam. These guys are actively involved in this. I used to think TYT believed what they say they believe. Now I absolutely do not. Now I know it's always been a sales pitch, and they don't give a fuck about anything they have purported to believe. Otherwise, you would take the real progress that comes to you and never let anything go, because these are real lives at stake. So yeah, anyways. Words are very unnecessary, I say. It's only too much. So let's, I'll give you an example. So this is Stephen Chowderhead over here, who, if I'm not mistaken, has the exact same voice as Fred from Scooby-Doo. Now that I've said it, you will never be able to unhear it. This is a video and look, you'll see what I mean in the title. That's not what we voted for. Grading Pam Bondi and Kash Patel's performance so far. Does that sound to you like, it sounds to me like, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just tired of winning. Maybe that's what it is. They're just exhausted. It's so much winning they can barely keep up. Pam and Kash are just doing awesome with that whole, I don't know what the fuck they're doing that's different from what the fucking FBI and the DOJ is supposed to do normally and has been doing normally, right? They're announcing big, like, drug busts. That's great. That also means there's more drugs coming in now that Trump is president, even though the border is allegedly closed. We'll get to that bullshit about that in a second, because there is one of these things. You know how those situations are where somebody says something and they don't realize they're saying the inverse at the same time? They're admitting to being more of a fuck up. Pam Bondi's like big fentanyl bust, when the border is fucking closed. It's never been more closed, right? That's the thing. We've never had this little traffic at the border. Well, then, if all this fentanyl is coming across the southern border, then how in the goddamn do you have the biggest fentanyl bust after the border is shut down? I mean, even just the collective nature of the volume of people crossing it. I'm starting to believe, like a lot of other people, that you are full of shit about the fentanyl crossing the southern border, and it does come through ports, mostly American citizens or people with visas or whatever, sneaking it in through on boats and shit like that, and it's not about the southern border or the Canadian border at fucking all, okay? Not at all. Did anybody else point that out when she was showing off that big fucking bust? Did anybody else point out the fact, like, if all this shit's coming across the southern border, why is the biggest amount of it you've ever caught come across? Dear God, what must be making it through? So anyways, let's just take it as, Occam's razor, logic, Marcus Aurelius, what is the thing in and of itself? There's obviously more fentanyl coming into the country now that Trump is president. Change my mind. All right. Anyways, check this shit out, okay? I'm fairly certain this opens, because they do this They do this thing that everybody does now. It's very fancy CSL. We should look into it. Where they take a clip from the end and say, oh, wait till the end because it's awesome. And you put it at the beginning and then it says coming up and then it keeps you watching beyond the boring shit or the blather you're used to seeing. Maybe it'll work for us too. It's like magic. So check this shit out. By the way, hit the like, subscribe, etc.
He said, I believe he hung himself in a cell. Are you shitting me?
What'd I fucking say? What did I say? What'd I tell you guys? Uh-oh. Wait a second. I'm starting to think Trump doesn't want people to look into the Epstein files. I can't imagine why. Oh, yeah.
Are you shitting me?
I did not jump back. He says it twice. All right. Yes, by the way, they are shitting you. They are bullshitting you. You are being bullshitted by Donald Trump and his lackeys.
Am I the only one who's beyond livid?
No, you're not. The rest of them are just still fucking turd polishing right now, I guess.
That's my first time seeing that. Am I the only one? Am I the...
Just watch I guess they played the Cash Patel clip for him.
One who says, that's a different person from the Cash Patel who appeared on Nick DiPaolo's show. That's a different person, the guy who appeared before Glenn Beck.
No, it's not. It isn't. It is not. It's the same fucking guy. So, either he's full of shit now or he's full of shit then, but either way, if they're contradictory and he's not mentioning it in any way, he's full of shit across the board. And therefore, is he really shitting you, or are you just eating shit? Maybe that's what it is, Stephen Chowderhead. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're a shit eater for the Trump administration. Maybe you're just waking up to the fact that you are completely like face barreled into Trump's butt cheeks so deeply that your ears and eyes are covered in shit and cheek, and you can't even recognize the cognitive dissonance you have between the fact that Donald Trump was president when Epstein was arrested, a president when Epstein died, president when the fucking raid's happening, and then all of a sudden the fucking videos or whatever files they found just poof, fucking vanish. And then he hires a bunch of people like, we're going to get after this right away. And then they don't. And you're like, what could be the connective tissue that ties? Why? I can't think of a good reason why Trump wouldn't want this shit to come out immediately.
The DOJ. Look, this is something, there have been some developments here with the DOJ. And you know, where we covered all the confirmation hearings there was one notable exception, Pam Bondi.
Because you didn't want a shit talker while they were happening. So again, you were working your best Pravda. You were trying to do your cleanup for the Trump administration. You were trying to help get stuff across the line, but you couldn't bring yourself to actively bullshit your audience because you didn't want it to blow back on you and you were scared, and I guess chicks, right? So you didn't cover hers because you would have had to speak out about it.
Guess why? But Pete Hegseth, we covered it. DOD, Marco Rubio, State Department. That one we covered briefly. It went through pretty quickly.
Yeah.
RFK, right? HHS. It's been, pretty solid. Doesn't mean you agree with everyone there.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound. There's no variation in Trump world. You either suck it up to Trump or you don't.
Covered Pam Bondi. And there's a reason for that. And I've always tried, when you have inside baseball, if it's not my place, I try to not get into it, but just comment on what is publicly available and tell you why I may be hesitant. Or
Jesus Christ. Here's why. Because you're a fucking propagandist. That you and Hamas Abi and all those crowd, who have, you're just in the sales business. You're selling this bullshit. That's why. Because you just told us you might have had some inside information about why you should be against her, but you kept your fucking trap shut because You either thought you were in a protection racket for Trump, or you thought it would be unpopular with your crowd.
Be distrustful. And we have been...
By the way, you recognize the rusty trombone comment thing? That's where he got it from. This is they all do this, like do this forced comment below shit.
Doing this for a long time before.
This is just to drive a certain amount of activity in their videos so that they boost them. Now it works, obviously. I'm not going to tell you to do that, and I'm certainly not going to build a fucking graphic. It's fucking cheesy.
To this DOJ report card with Pam Bondi, it's not new. Because I have my reservations about Pam Bondi.
Because women should stay home and make babies.
And that is not to say that she is not doing her best job. That is not to say that I know definitively. But I saw some things that gave me pause. It's not to say that I dislike.
Like what?
AG Bondi. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I love her. I just think she's a danger to the country and won't do what we're saying, and she'll happily cover for Ghislaine Maxwell. What are you talking about?
But there's a distinct lack of organization or a lack of concern for being honest. Pam Bondi seems to be more interested in the limelight than in doing the job.
Jesus Christ. So she's the perfect Trump pick.
So since becoming AG, she's made at least 7 appearances on Fox News.
Yeah, turd polishing, covering for the fact that the Epstein stuff isn't coming, trying to tamp down a fucking mutiny.
Like the ones that you just saw. Let's compare that to Kash Patel. I believe that Kash Patel...
Who basically fucking disappeared. And then when he reappeared, you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Some people thought he would be like a dog chasing a car, wouldn't know what he would do when he caught it. No. I believe that this guy eats, sleeps, and breathes deconstructing the FBI and reforming it. I'm not seeing...
Oh, what a difference a month makes.
...that from Pam Bondi. And we haven't been seeing that these last couple of weeks. And I'll be honest, we're not seeing enough of that from Kash Patel. So...
Well, I guess so your beliefs were off base, based on shit, I guess. Shit. They would be based on shit. Your beliefs about him were based on shit.
I hope things are going on behind the scenes. And I know, so tell me where you guys line up if you think, okay, these folks deserve more time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They deserve a lot more time. Yeah. They'll get to it. Why are you rushing them? Just because they said day one. Just said it was their main priority. Just said it because they said it was the only thing that mattered to them. Just because Kash Patel was going to put a lock on the FBI door and shut the whole fucking building down and destroy it from within immediately. And now he's like, the people, the men and women in the field are doing great work, and these are patriots that all the same shit Chris Wray said. Suddenly you get in the job and you're like, oh, fuck. I had no idea these guys bust their ass as much. I had no idea that the last time 2 FBI agents were gunned down in the line of duty, it was in Florida chasing down a pedophile. Gee, what Florida and pedophiles? Why does that remind me of something? Jesus.
And we can't have unrealistic expectations. I understand that argument.
What's unrealistic? Fuck are you talking about? Why would it be unrealistic that Pam Bondi wouldn't bait and switch you with the fucking Epstein binders? That they wouldn't just re-release stuff in a bad photocopied form, where even the stuff that was unredacted was harder to read than the stuff that you can find basically on any website with the shit already posted on it. Why is that too high a fucking standard? Oh, I know. Because Trump's in charge now, and nothing can ever be his fault.
I'll also say this. We're going to go through the good, and there has been a lot of good.
There has. There's been a lot of good. So much good.
We're going to go through the bad. But it's a real problem when you campaign on the reason that you have this job. And I know these people.
Whoa, they're so close. They're all so fucking close. They're this fucking close.
Are appointed. They're not, but they did campaign. They were all appearing on different shows saying, hey, we are going to fundamentally dismantle and root out the corruption of these 3-letter agencies because faith in them is at an all-time low, right?
Yeah, but not because of anything they did, but because of Trump's attacks on them. And before Trump came around, people didn't attack the FBI like this ever since, I guess, the fucking civil rights era, when since they've really focused their efforts on like gun runners and serial killers and human trafficking and shit like that, which is their fucking main job, and anti-terrorist stuff. And so they've been pretty good until Trump decided to turn his supporters on them, thereby lowering their support by 20 points or some shit like that. But it isn't because they did anything fucking wrong. The FBI's been doing their fucking job every goddamn day in spite of this shit. Trump turned him on it because he's fucking guilty. He's a fucking crook. And crooks hate the cops. They always do. And white-collar crooks hate the fucking FBI. They always will. That's what this is about. And his own followers will just suck up to him anyway. They'll turn on the FBI, even though these are people who are risking their fucking lives every goddamn day to support this fucking second-generation Bone Spurs asshole in his mission to gut the U.S. government because there's too many useless eaters sucking off the tit of Medicaid, and we gotta separate the wheat from the chaff or something.
Why these people were put in. Nothing really seems to happen on that front, but then you're saying, hey, look, these agencies, there's a drug bust. They're doing exactly what they have been doing this whole time. Sure, that's good too, but that's not what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, I know. I know. Chat room, come on. This is fucking sweet. And by the way, he's not wrong in any of this. Like the only missing part is the concept, the possibility that he could be being lied to. Like he can't or won't fucking go there. I mean, I don't think if you run an organization like Crowder's Show and you can organize a lot of this stuff, he's a piece of shit to his ex-wife and all that kind of stuff. He's gross, but he's at least capable of some logical reasoning. So you can see this kind of like he's butting up against like what his beliefs that he shows the world will allow him to talk about. I don't know what his internal beliefs are. Nobody could. Right? Yes, you want to see the aha moment. That's exactly right. And you're right, Nerd Halen does rock. So saith I. But watch this.
Primary reason that people supported you and that you're in there was to actually deal with the corruption of the agency itself.
Right.
If there is any, there's also that possibility. There could be a possibility that Peter Strzok and Page, they were talking back and forth, but they didn't actually have a conspiracy to undermine Trump. They just fucking hated him because he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter century. He was a fucking crook. He's a failed businessman and a showboat and a dickhead and a pussy-grabbing second-generation rich kid who has bankrupted like casinos and 6 other businesses. And so maybe they're like, fuck, we got to stop this guy. But there wasn't like a text chain within the FBI like, right, guys? It was just a few people. And when you went looking for the corruption, you didn't fucking find any. That's the problem. You're also assuming that the story they told you about this broad-based corruption actually exists. It's like the fucking deep state. Oh my God, yeah, Hegseth's gonna go in there and root out the deep state at the Pentagon. Who'd he end up firing? 5 guys he brought in himself. His own people, his buddies, former Fox News morning show guests that he had on. People that helped him fucking steal money from a vet's charity. That's who he brought in, and that's who he bounced. He didn't find the deep state, he brought the deep state with him. What the fuck do you think Doge is?
And whether you think they need more time?
Yeah, if they just do more of this for longer, it'll get better.
Yes, but it's bad optics to go out, act like none of that happened.
That's right. That's what it is. That's a good point. It's bad optics. That's what it just, It's not that it is bad. It's that it looks bad.
Isn't this good? Look, the FBI is doing what the FBI does. It's like, yeah, we want you to stop what the FBI does and start. In other words, don't look out with the FBI. Your job was to go, FBI.
Really? That's the job? Where are you going to yell, FBI, get on the ground to other FBI agents?
Your job was not to go, hey, DOJ, your job was to go, I see you, DOJ, and we're not seeing that. That's my frustration. I think that's most of you. Let's go through the good first, though, because I don't want to be a pessimist. So it's good. 205 child sex offenders were arrested over a 5-day bust, and that included school leaders, some members of law enforcement.
Okay, they do this all the time. There's a guy in Florida he's a sheriff down there who, because of the Florida sunshine laws, talks about who they bust all the fucking time. And by the way, do you think this is new? Is it a bunch of Democratic cabal people? Did they kick in the door on a fucking eyes wide shut party where they were all eating baby milkshakes? Drinking baby milkshakes. I'm not up on how the eyes wide shut crowd consumes baby. I should know it better, obviously, but I guess I would know more about it if Kash Patel would release the documents on it, but for some reason he's holding it back, and I can't figure out why.
Sex offenders.
That should be the first one.
Yeah, I almost
in D.C. too.
What?
Said it was only in D.C. too. Who knew?
Only in D.C. I would have just to be clear, and I'm no professional. I would have started by looking at the currently registered sex offenders.
Yes,
that would have been my first place to look.
Well, then you would have gotten a bunch of people that were busted before the Romeo and Juliet laws that were dating somebody, 6 years apart instead of 4 years apart, high school to college, that kind of thing. Oftentimes, besides that, that's what they often do. If there's been a crime, that's the first place they look. Has this motherfucker ever seen an episode of SVU, for fuck's sake? Much less FBI?
There was the largest fentanyl bust in DEA history.
Right. So the border is closed. How did a shipment this big get into the fucking country? Golly.
Go.
Okay.
Good job.
400 kilograms. That's like 200 million lethal doses if you add it up.
Yes, that's where Pam Bondi said they saved 200 million people. 242 million people, whatever.
This administration, they've been going after some criminal judges. That's a good thing. You had Luis Cano, right, who hid Venezuelan, the TDA gang members
He's an ex-judge, sure. I mean, that's technically, other people have hid gang members in. This guy was just an ex-judge. It's the only reason it made the news. But they didn't not go after this asshole because he was a judge. Also, I want to say, was that in Texas? I mean, the other one was obviously the Wisconsin case. But hold on. Justice Department announces 2 cases involving judicial misconduct. Okay, also, I thought it was every fucking where. Hold on. How many judges in the U.S.? Just curious. There are approximately, let's see. There are 816 active federal judges. There are, let's see, and there are around 30,000 state judges. Both of these are state judges. So out of 30,000 judges in this total, misconduct review, 2. Fucking 2. Let's see. Federal courts have nearly 1,770 judgeships. And then there's several secondary ones and all that kind of stuff. So, great. So, 30,000 judges. That's why people are like, I appointed over 300 judges and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so of the federal judges, you're talking about somewhere between 816 of the First Circuit, Ninth Circuit, and then from First Circuit up, there's like 1,700. Something like that. And you found 2. Congratulations. And also, let's see, former ex-judge of Donna County Donna Ana County, charged with evidence tampering, and Milwaukee County. Okay, that's the woman who got busted for helping the dude. And then this one, immigration abuses. The cases against 2 judges aren't that. Well, it doesn't really. I don't know why you would include that. Don't conflate these well-founded criminal charges with the many valid and pressing criticisms of Trump administration on immigration. Both of these judges crossed the line, and both criminal charges are justified, even if the judge exceedingly unlikely to be convicted. And we'll discuss in a moment. So this is New York Magazine. So they're not. This article isn't even saying that the 2 judges that were busted have anything to do with Trump's, like the people who've ruled against Trump. Good Lord, try harder.
In their home. This person destroyed a gang member's phone to cover evidence. There's the judge, Hannah Dugan, remember, helped that illegal sneak out of the courtroom to avoid ICE and made a big show of it. So that's good.
Yeah, out of 32,000 judges in the country, you found 2 county judges, and boom. I mean, I don't know why Pam Bondi doesn't just fucking take a vacation with Ted Cruz to Mexico. Just put your fucking feet up.
Neither of these cases would seem relevant if you lived in what the mainstream news media has been referring to. Remember food deserts? Now they say that in 2025 there are still people who don't have access to smartphones. So they refer to them as not food deserts, but news deserts, and they've been remedying it with their own town crier.
Okay, he does a sketch of some shit to like this business, whatever. Okay, so that's their news desert joke. And then they pitched something, whatever, I guess.
You heard me says, like, are you doing what you were? You're not supposed to be looking out with these departments. You're supposed to be looking in. Just let's take their word for it.
Also, no, you're not. You're supposed to be running them effectively because they were created by an act of Congress and they've got a mandate to do something. Even if you want to root some folks out, you still have to do the job at hand. And arguably, with all this fucking, egotistical "Make America Great Again" blather, you should be doing it 10 times better than anybody else.
People like Bondi and Patel, and I will say I separate Bondi from the rest of them because of
she's a woman.
The bungles, I guess, to use a term that have taken place with Bondi. But hey, why are they in office? What kind of promises did they make?
I will fight every day to restore confidence and integrity to the Department of Justice and each.
I love that she's Pamela Joe. I didn't realize it was Pamela Joe Bondi for the people.
Its components.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day 1.
What is that? What is that? Yep, that's bullshit. That's shit. That's just someone shitting.
Reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
Are we going to fix it? Absolutely. Is it going to take a while? Not as long as people think.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? On day 1, roll out the black book. And not just that. On day 1.
Day fucking 1. I don't know what the complaint is. This is 2023. This is ancient history. He was a young man. You make a lot of mistakes when you're that young.
Roll out all of the text message communications we were told were deleted. On day 1, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber.
That all sounded great.
Yeah, I can imagine it would. If you were stupid and actually believed him.
That's why people supported you.
Day 1.
Which brings us to the bad, okay?
Boy, the good didn't last very long, did it?
We do have a new clip, which we'll run a little bit later. Where's the accountability for the...
Accountability. Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody know... no? Anybody know where the account... I left it in my other pants, I think. Where's the accountability?
Fair.
Yeah.
Right? So on February 5th, Bondi established the Weaponization Working Group to investigate those behind the Donald Trump lawfare. That was a big deal, right?
It was a big deal. And they were going to have a whole conference, and we're all going to sit together, and we're all going to get in a room, and we're going to put our cards on the table, and everybody would take notes, and we're going to set up a big murder board, and then we're going to figure out who did who to what, and we're going to go after the bad actors in the situation. And if we go in there and we don't find anything, Fentanyl bust. Look, look at all the drugs. We found these largely in Don Jr.'s cabin.
Lawfare, the vilifying him as a criminal, the going after him to try and render the people's president ineligible, which you can judge a country by the level of corruption in their institutions. That's really what's...
Sure, and I would think that if there was a ton of it and it was like, oh shit, America has changed, we have so much corruption, that the Pam Bondis and the Cash Patels of the world would have an easy fucking job rolling through here. You just be like, poop. It's almost like Doge. I'm starting to think they're full of shit too. They're $2 trillion of waste, fraud, and abuse. 150 billion, and it was just programs you cut. Or that Obama and Biden had cut, and it was just part of programs where they find waste, fraud, and abuse. You were just wanting credit for laws that were passed in fucking 2013. Could be that. It could be that when they went to look, they were lying that there was all this corruption. It's kind of like, why aren't they rounding up all these millions of illegals everywhere? Maybe because they're ineffective and stupid, or maybe because they're doing the bidding of the agricultural billionaires, and and they need those workers, so they're letting them slip by. Or maybe they're not fucking here. Maybe the number that Trump sold on the fucking stump is a lie and always was, and that the number never passed 13 million no matter what, and they were always punting people back out. Maybe you can't find them because you ain't got them. And if you want to go after millions of people, you're going to end up sending babies with cancer and married parents and people who've been working in hospitality for 13 years. You're not going to find this stampede of fucking murderers. Maybe it ain't there. Maybe you're asking too much of these people. You're asking them to find gold in a toilet.
Separates us from banana republics and third world nations. And this was the worst corruption that we have absolutely seen in our lifetime. So this was...
Well, the problem is you haven't absolutely seen it. You were convinced of it, not the same thing. And again, I will leave it on why hasn't Cash Patel taken the Hunter Biden laptop that they allegedly have in their custody, right? They allegedly have it. Give it to the cybercrimes group and say, pull all the data off this you can possibly get and give us a timeline of when that stuff is so we can authenticate what's actually on that hard drive. Not the shitty double copy with a bunch of other files that Rudy Giuliani was selling all over town. The actual one from the actual device. Do that. Well, I mean, that's a day one thing, right? They have a lab there. You could actually go and do that. That's like 2 memos. And it's already funded. That would already be part of their purview. Just hand it over to them. Why aren't you? Because you know what you'll find.
You can check the references. Link in the description as every show. 3 months later, no update at all.
3 months later, no update. Well, it could be them. It could be. Or it could be you. It could be that your expectations were based on a bill of goods you were sold by these assholes and the fabricated idea that you've been centering your entire life around for the past 7 years. And eventually you're kind of coming to the realization that it was all bullshit. That is, in general, the situation you find yourself in. Hold on, I think... where is that? Yeah.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
So the drug bust, hey, that's great. But is that what you were hoping for? Or...
Well, I got to say, I'm glad they're still doing that part of the job. As a Democrat, I'm glad that they at least feel like they have to pay, do real work just as window dressing anyways. Because you can't exactly sell that you're making America great again and all that kind of stuff if this shit gets in here, if a terrorist attack happens and all that. So I'm counting on them to stop these things, not because they give a shit, but out of self-interest. So, hey, I'll take victories however they come.
You're hoping for someone to get to the bottom of the lawfare against the man who you chose as president. What about January 6th?
I don't know. You let out a bunch of cop beaters and mixed them in with a bunch of dipshit trespassers who stole things and tried to sell them to Russia, and you didn't make a distinction. Oh, by the way, I think the bigger question is, Did Trump sign all of those pardons personally, or did he use auto pen? Because if he used auto pen, I would say that they're not worth the paper they're printed on, and I would say those people should go right back to jail according to the standards set forth by you guys.
We still don't know anything about the FBI instigators in the crowd. Who was...
They weren't FBI. Here's what you know. There weren't any. There were informers. People who believed in the cause, believed in Donald Trump, and on the day were like, yeah, fuck this. And then as soon as these assholes breached those bike fence barriers and started beating up cops, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. The other thing is, you don't even need the fucking, and again, instigators, like maggots are so fucking dough-headed that somebody just beat that cop. That's all they have to do is whisper in your fucking ear and you'll attack the goddamn Capitol. I would argue that's fucking worse. Sorry, but Trump's followers are so shitty that anybody walks up to him and goes, you should attack those police officers and run up in there and take a giant dump in the middle of the dome. Hey, grab that Confederate flag and bring it into the Capitol and, you know, to make something happen that hasn't happened. Hey, who wants to build a gallows? Maybe that's more of a problem. Because if they can be that easily led, maybe they shouldn't be anywhere near power. Anywhere.
Is there any accountability, restitution for the prisoners, some of whom were locked up for years for nothing more than trespassing?
Nope. Nobody was locked up for nothing more than trespassing. Nope. Tons of people trespassed on that day. Thousands. They didn't get locked up. You had to be a special case. And by saying some people got locked up for nothing more than trespassing, it's just your way of brushing past the fact that a bunch of them, the majority of those people, assaulted police officers or contributed to that assault directly. And I would argue, and I think this asshole would too, that if 6 people stormed into this studio and started knocking over gear and stuff, they wouldn't go, well, the first guy that got in here, that guy should go to jail. But everybody who's in here just kicking shit over, they're basically invitees. They were let in by the fact that the other guy kicked the fucking door in. If that's your standard, what's your home security like? If more than 2 people show up to break into your home, the other 2 can just go around your house and do whatever the fuck they want to you and your family and grab your shit and all that. Are you nuts? How does that make sense? This asshole used to wear a gun on set. Like, seriously. He literally had a gun in a holster all the fucking time. And I think it's because maybe some of the people he employs, or he was afraid they would snap or something.
Where are and I'm not just saying, arrest all of them, put them all back. No. What I'm saying is, hey. If Joe Biden's administration had arrested around 500 people just surrounding the January 6th events alone, which we now know were largely a lie.
No, they weren't largely a lie. January 6th was not largely, we all watched it on fucking television. We all watched them create like a ramrod to push through and were crushing cops against door frames. None of that was a lie. None of it. That's just goofy. Stop it. Stop. Ashley Babbitt didn't get shot because she was like trying to stop people going through that door. She punched one of her fellow maggots so she could be through the door first, and she got shot. If she hadn't done that, we wouldn't even be talking about her. We'd be talking about the other dead guy. And, I mean, maybe Greg Kelly would be able to find someone to love.
Where it would be appropriate to say what Ilana. Some people did some things, but...
Yeah, that's what it was. Some people did some things, like tase a cop until he had a heart attack and steal his gun. And some people brought a gun and fired it from the scaffolding. Another guy had a fucking pickup truck full of weapons. Some people did a thing like build a fucking gallows. Hey, Ashley Babbitt did a thing. She brought a fucking knife that she intended to use on sitting members of Congress in our representative government. People who got votes.
Hundreds of thousands of people were peaceful, and even...
Yeah, none of them got arrested. Tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. Tens of thousands of people were peaceful. I don't give a fuck about anybody who listened to that fucking speech and walked that way. Nobody does. None of them got arrested. What are you talking about?
Many of the people who were arrested committed no felonies at all. They were involved.
Simmer.
On a walking tour. Remember QAnon Shaman? His sin was saying yes to the invite and wearing a funny hat.
Sorry, the invite? Did they mail it to him at home? Or did he step over tile stained with the blood of police officers who were assaulted that day to get in the fucking building? Did he go into the Senate and take things from there? He was in the well of the Senate. Remember that? He didn't just walk around looking at shit and then walk out the back door like a bunch of other people. He raised the gavel, said they were going to seize the fucking government. And all that leading him around, that cut footage that everybody seems to go, what? Why did Tucker Carlson release a bunch of footage that shows him walking around in different order than it happened during the day with no timeline? Why would there not be any time code on that? So you could see where he went from here to here to here to here to here to here. Why? When you're creating the illusion that somehow he just walked in and a bunch of cops walked him one way and they walk him down a hallway and they go, hey man, right this way, right this way. And the reason is because they have their backs against a door where the vice president is fucking escaping. And it's lucky for the cops that this guy was a dough-headed dipshit with a sharpened flagpole that he was carrying around.
500 arrests. And now our people, 0?
Yeah, well, I don't think they found anybody who, again, tried to tase a D.C. police officer until he had a heart attack. Capitol police officer. It could be that, you know what? Look, it's hard to say. Are Pam Bondi and Kash Patel complete fuck-ups, or are they looking for something that isn't there? I mean, can't we agree that it's both?
0?
Yes, 0.
Then the Epstein. Well, that was kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Day one. It'd be different if you were told, like, eventually. You were told day one. If
I wasn't told day one. You were told day one.
like, yeah, but it takes time. It's like, but you said day one. Yeah, but, we're still kind of, it's like, you said day one. Like 50 times.
Yes.
So we're more than 2 months out now. Remember from when AG Bondi hung some influencers out to dry? Some people didn't know. And here, like we talked about libs of TikTok, and then there were some influencers who were all too happy to try and pull the wool over your eyes with the Epstein binders that included less information than was already publicly available.
It's weird. It's funny. It's like, and I can't imagine why, again, why Pam Bondi would do that stunt just to distract people away from the Epstein things, considering who got her the job. I think that's that DC Drano dipshit, right? The guy with the beard. The Epstein Files, Phase 1. Sucker!
Yeah, and then you open it up and it's like, he had a plane. No shit.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Gotcha, bitch.
It's just Dave Chappelle's face.
And now there was an update from Bondi yesterday, who I believe now it's in the dozens, if not over 100 appearances on Fox News. Before you watch this clip from yesterday, it is...
By the way, I don't know why these assholes think it's a dunk on Pam Bondi to think that she's like a fame hound or something, when Trump's entire methodology, his entire campaign, his life anyways, is based on PR and bullshitting people. It's why he liked her. It's because she'll bullshit everyone with, zero reservations, like calling him El Presidente basically at all these meetings. I don't know. I just don't know why they think this is a dunk. I don't know why they think this isn't par for the course or exactly what Trump expects of his people.
Alarming as to just how much Pam Bondi's looking more and more like Michael Jackson. It's that like skull face.
I mean, I guess if you're looking for a lame comedy distraction, I mean, the obvious go-to is the "and Iraq girl" thing, but I don't. I think this is an eyebrow thing. Is that what this is?
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh.
Her nose doesn't look like his. That's. I mean, it's. All right. Why am I making sense of this? It's just like this is just them swinging for the fences.
Bondi.
So here she is yesterday attempting to explain with different reasoning what she said with that binder rollout 2 months ago. Here's some kind of...
That, by the way, we all knew was bullshit when it happened because Donald Trump is all over those files, and therefore they will never be fully released while Donald Trump has any power whatsoever over the process.
I guess it's an explanation. Just watch.
James Comer said yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm the status of them? We still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos.
This is the part that was supposedly in the James O'Keefe video where she said to somebody in a restaurant that there are these videos of Epstein with underage kids.
Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims.
Wait, sorry, with him with children or him watching that or stuff that he had that he's not a part of, just stuff that was in his possession? And again, nobody questions whether Epstein was an evil pedophile. Fucking duh. It's always been about who else was involved. Who else in power might have been either being blackmailed by him or were willing participants or any of that. That's the information everybody's looking for. They're like, we're getting to the bottom of this. We're fairly certain we can prove that this dead guy is a very bad person. Cool.
No one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that.
They already did. There was a case proceeding. They were preparing for trial. They had already gone through those things. She's lying.
But I'll call him later and find out.
For context, it's at least one. You guys let me know. I believe it's two. Since that abysmal rollout on Epstein to today, one or two people involved, victims, have since died. Suicide or something.
Right.
You know, brakes went out in the car. Something like that.
Narrowly escaped suicide just to be.
Yeah,
Stuff that happens to acquaintances of the Clintons, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
No, not at all. The girl that just killed herself worked at Mar-a-Lago, was recruited by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell from there, and allegedly had sex with Prince Andrew. Fuck you and your Clinton bullshit. And again, if Clinton was involved in this, fuck him. But no, you don't get to fucking throw that out there to try and dissuade this. If Virginia Jeffrey worked at fucking Mar-a-Lago when she was 16 years old. Again, why are they hiring like young 16-year-old girls? I don't know. Same reason he lives 9 minutes away from Jeffrey Epstein every time he buys a house.
So two people have died.
Yeah.
Since that bad rollout. In other words, this isn't just...
Yeah, and Trump's president. And Trump was president when Epstein was arrested and died. Do we see just a junction point between these details, if not a direct connection?
As far as knowing, you know, for posterity's sake, but there's still... Do you honestly think that everyone involved with the, according to her, hundreds of sex slaves at Epstein Island, by the way, connected to many politically elite, including royalty, you think that...
Including Donald Trump? Specifically,
one involved in facilitating the child sex trafficking has since straightened up and decided to fly right?
No.
They're still out there.
Yes, they're still in the Oval.
They're addicted.
Yeah, they're still out there.
And Pam Bondi didn't just say this in her conference.
Sorry, they're addicted. So it's they're not responsible for their behavior. It's an addiction. It's an illness, and they're trying to fight it. These poor pedophiles, but damn, it's hard. I don't know.
Hearing. She didn't just say on day one in confirmation. She went on Fox News and said tomorrow. And then what we got tomorrow was the binders full of information that everybody already had. And in
hey man, relax, be strong. It's going to come out. No one in the White House has any reason to hold back any of this stuff.
Cases less information because they redacted some stuff that was publicly available already.
Yeah.
And then said, I'm demanding that the FBI bring this all to my Cash Patel. You have to bring me all this stuff the next day after that because of such backlash. And then radio silence.
Yeah. So at a certain point, you have to ask, is it the people that you're complaining about, or is it you? Is it you're just expecting too much from these people? Your demands are too high. You're setting the bar too high for what they're even capable of presenting because their boss is all over their records.
I understand. With respect, A.G. Bondi, I understand that there's a lot of information for them to go through. Certainly they can go through some and release it, right? Certainly they can do it in chunks. They can say, hey, we've had 2 months. Here's at least 1 page of information.
Yeah, it's hard to find a page without Trump's name on it, though. It really is.
That we can release that we've gone through to make sure nobody is harmed that's a victim in this case and no child pornography is being distributed by the FBI because we keep that on their computers apparently, right? Can't 1 page be out?
Let me just.
No, sorry, can't. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's just, look, them's the rules. And these people told you they were, on day one, they would do everything they could. And apparently, day one, they did everything they could. And everything after day one, they do everything they can't.
I'm going to make a statement here that I'm sure will piss a lot of people off. And by the way, it's the reason that many of these folks don't appear on the show.
Because you do your show in a storage unit in wherever they are. Where are they? Austin, Texas? Just like Alex?
Many people who would seem like natural fits. To be fair, I would never sandbag anybody. And
No, you never. They can still come on, even though they never would. But, I'd give them a total pass. I'm not saying I wouldn't give them a total pass on this stuff. If she was sitting here right now, we would not be talking about this. We would be talking about that fentanyl buzz like you would not fucking believe, buddy.
I, of course, support a lot of these folks, and I'm happy, and I would love to give them a platform,
Support's a good word, sure. Yeah.
Only platform that has as many of you watching live in existence.
Damn. Fuck you, Daily Wire. Crowder and his 77,000 views on this video and his 1.2 million subscribers, which is like a third of what Rusty Trombone has, right?
But you don't get that. You don't get access if you call balls and strikes. Someone like an AG Pam Bondi is worse, in my opinion, is worse for the conservative right-wing movement than anything the left could concoct.
Wow. God, that hurts. Now, that's largely because what the left usually concocts is someone who actually wants to follow the rule of law and even is, I guess, slower in pace than we would hope for, like Merrick Garland, I guess. This is not exactly a pit bull who went after people at the speed that he could have. I mean, I think he spent way too much time crossing T's and dotting I's. So, yeah, I guess. But I feel like at this point, this is your way to avoid shit-talking Cash Patel because he's a dude.
You guys understand that? That's my...
We do. We all understand. My concern is that it's bad. But is it as bad as the kidney? What the? what's happening.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
I've heard that. I have heard that. I'm not, I wasn't 100% sure that was true, but yeah. Do we lose all audio on that? Really? Just the darkness? Did I just live in darkness? That's just sad. Oh, during the wavy effect, everything went away? Well, that's good. It was scarier that way, I think. Hold on. Let's see. That's going to... why would that be? Let's see. I think I know why. Hold on one second. It's going to drive me crazy. Why is that not happening? Oh. I know why. I worked so hard on this too. It looks good though. Stop it. I know why. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. Okay, you got to forgive me. We got to see if it works again this time. And oh, look at that. I was doubling up audio. That's odd. Hey. The software has to be open when it... That's so annoying. It's so sad. I think I worked so hard. Oh, something's... That's the... I'll wait till it... There it is. Is it open yet? Did it open? I don't think so. Or is it just panicking? Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. No, it just doesn't want to... Why is that? I've got to fix this later. That's annoying. Why? Where'd you go, you silly thing? Open. Middle of that, and I was very sad. Fuck you, Steven Crowder. I'm working on my show. We'll cut this out and do it later. Oh yeah, it doesn't like being open. Oh, there's two of them. That's weird. Could be.
The enemy is from within. Just think about fighting. It's like, you ever do that? when you were a kid where you jump off the diving board or you jump off in the deep end and you see if you can swim the length of the
Check. There we go. Ah. See, it keeps trying to reopen. What is happening here? Hold on, let me see. Control this. Options. Maybe it's the link. It's being very weird. Applications. We'll go to the wavelength thingy. Wave, why are you being such a dick? I don't even think it's a... No, that's why it's just gone. Show recents. What is that? No available windows. That's good. That's way better. Thanks, guys. This is how you know this is live, and I do it all by myself. I don't have like 5 dickheads behind a counter going, dude, you're so funny, boss. I mean, I'd love that. Let's see. Okay. Why would you do that? Oh, maybe I have to close the other thing first. See, yeah, it's crapping out. And then check. Yeah, okay. All right, we'll wait on it. I'm gonna, that'll be the post show tonight, is me fixing that shit.
Right, holding your breath. We always used to do that as a kid. One time I did that, and there was another guy who thought
it's a great story. I love this story.
It's funny. I might have been 8 or 9 years old. I made it for the first time from the deep end. It was a local public pool, all the way to the shallow end. It could barely, and came up, and he thought it was funny to dunk my head under, so I couldn't come up. It's one of
this explains so much.
Times where I was like, oh, this is how I go. I'm gonna die. Thankfully, his older brother beat his ass in front of me. That's how that story ends. That's what this is like.
No, it's kind of not. Unless I guess you're, so all MAGA is like you swimming there, and Pam Bondi is the kid holding your head underwater, and Cash Patel is her brother that would kick her ass, but he's not.
Fought. You went through 2020. Right here, we were suspended. We were demonetized. Diageo, 80% of the world's advertising said, hey, we're not actually going to advertise on Rumble unless you remove Stephen Kraft. And you guys, right? You went out, you canvassed, you felt like something was stolen from you. You went through COVID and you said, we're not going to let that happen again. You flipped. And now you're coming up for air because you put these people in office and they're dunking your head back under. Look at the drug busts.
That's what this is. You're having to live with just the biggest drug bust in history.
It's not what we voted for. It's important to me because I had the candidates I did have on. I said, if you will not dismantle, we're at the very
dismantle. Yes. Brilliant idea, by the way, dismantling the FBI.
Least fundamentally restructure in short order our 3-letter agencies. That for me is a close-handed issue, and you won't get my vote.
And so they chose to lie to you, and you're like, thank God, thank you for lying to me, because I'm such a gullible dipshit. I actually thought that was possible, much less a good idea.
Because there were Republicans in the primaries who were saying, and think about that too, you chose Donald Trump in no small part because during the primaries, many Republicans, in case you've forgotten, said, well, we need people to trust our institutions. We don't want to completely, most people are doing great work at the FBI and our DOJ and CIA. And you said, bullshit. I want someone who's going to do something about it.
You went, bullshit me, please bullshit me, please. When I said bullshit, I didn't mean I was calling you bullshit. I was saying it was a request for bullshit. Please bullshit me. Please tell me what the fuck I want to hear. Level 2 hype train. Thank you guys on Twitch.
And I want the guy who was persecuted through political lawfare. I want him in. So not retribution, so there can be justice.
Yes, for Jeffrey Epstein, who totally killed himself in jail, and he should have been allowed to live and make it to trial. And no one is more hurt by that than Donald John Trump.
We don't become a banana republic. That was a big issue, right? The biggest issue nationally was immigration, the economy. But you comment below. If you're an actual conservative.
Yeah, throw a comment in there. Please save us from ourselves.
If that wasn't the top issue, it was top 3.
Jesus Christ. Is this the business model now that you have to do online? Comment below to let me know. Jesus Christ.
You fought, you scraped, you clawed.
Up your and what happened? You ended up with your head up your own ass. That's what happened. Congratulations. You played yourself.
Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Held your breath and you went all in and someone's dunking your head back under. That to me is more damaging to what we, because where's the hope? You want to go through all the...
Where is the hope? That's what I've been wondering too. I'm wondering as well, and you guys have been wondering. We all have been wondering. Where's the hope?
Again? If you think it's another Bondi? So yeah, we're not going to have a lot of these people in the inner circle as guests because them's fighting words.
Yeah, I mean, they were totally going to come on before like they did before, but now they're definitely not, because boy, huh? If they, I'm not going to sandbag anybody, but if they come on, I mean, I will, if they would come on, I'd totally kiss their ass, but I'm not going to, now that I know they're not going to come on, you got to draw a line somewhere. You're not welcome, okay? You can't fire me. I quit.
Fine with it. Report card. I give Bondi an F. Everyone else, I give a, remains to be seen.
Incomplete, I think is what they call it.
And we also have a new clip, by the way. I guess this is
Kash Patel talking to Senator Kennedy, right? And talking specifically about the Epstein files.
Yes. A new clip, ladies and gentlemen. This is when they do that little shuffle at the thing that they give you a little teaser at the beginning. This is the moment where he and I guess this guy's had to have seen this video already. They're not just going to post it sight unseen, I'm guessing.
Today?
I believe it's today.
This is from today. Yes.
Okay.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Wow.
What? Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects.
Oh, this is so you could just feel them all just like turtling in the background. You could just the dick shrivel across that entire crowd.
Victims, and also doesn't put out into the ether.
The victims. Okay, there's only two possible victims. One would be Jeffrey Epstein, the fucking dead guy, or the victims would be everyone else on the planet because he didn't really die and he actually escaped and they swapped his body for somebody else, and then they did a fucking DNA swap because he spent $1 billion coming up with a carcass that looked like him, and they just they filled it with his blood so that they could draw on it. It'd be inconclusive, but it was basically him. The chances of being somebody else with the blood draw, that they tipped the fucking pathologist to not take skin samples for the DNA, but take actual blood because that's a billionaire escape plan. Whereas everyone else in the world are the victims because this guy's free, I guess. These would be the two options. Or I guess there's another victim would be everybody else in the world because Trump had him killed while he was president in the United States to cover his own ass because he was actually in charge of the government and his people were in charge of the Department of Justice and the FBI at that time.
Information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAN.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Quick, hey, Mission Control, get to me. I guarantee you it won't take you long. I can't do it right now. That Kash Patel at one point made it clear he did not believe that Epstein killed himself. Get that for me here, and we can run that. Hey, what changed? Enlightenment? Hey, if that's the case, you have to believe that the FBI is so beyond any type of corruptibility that they educated Kash Patel.
Or you could believe that he actually saw the evidence firsthand, which because it was an open case and all that kind of stuff, unless you have that kind of access, you're outside the government like you are, like I am. You're talking shit until you absolutely know. You can only speak to what the available information that you actually have, and then turns out you were wrong. Now, again, Kash Patel was friends with Trump, and Trump, again, he could have drawn all of his conclusions about how Epstein died in that prison cell from the fact that Trump knew people who knew the truth. Which, if it's not, he hung himself, then who's hiding that truth? Then Kash Patel was operating on this information that he allegedly got from people who knew, and they're not talking because of who their boss is.
But now, hey, it's very clear. Epstein killed himself. Or something's off. People are...
Gee, what could that be? Could it be possible that Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's best fucking friend, and then he lied about breaking ties with him, and then they used to party together all the time, and not only did he fly on Epstein's plane, Epstein flew on his with an underage girl in front of a fucking reporter.
Compromised. It's one thing to say it takes time. It's another for the guy saying, going to turn it into a museum, to say, no, the main talking point that the majority of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, do not believe, yeah, that's still the talking point. He hung himself. No foul play. Has nothing to do with the length of time. If he said, if his only answer there, sorry, now I'm done with this guy. If his only answer there was...
That didn't take long. All right. On the fucking... I don't know where else you go, but shit.
Hey, you know what? I have to be very careful with the information, especially in today's news climate, to make sure that we aim once and aim right. But we are going to be releasing all of this, and the answer will leave no doubt. I just can't give that to you right now because of...
Because damn, son.
Sensitivities. Hey, got it. It takes time. He didn't say that.
You're right. He did not. And there's basically two possibilities here. Really, it isn't multiple choice here. It's either that's what fucking happened and now he knows, or he's joined the cabal for one of those sweet, sweet baby adrenochrome life-extending milkshakes that only the elites get a taste of. And you never will, Crowder.
He said, I believe he hung himself in a cell. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me?
Yeah, yes, he is. Or he was before and isn't now, or is now and wasn't before, whatever. Anyways, I don't know. You were saying you have shit all over you. What? Go ahead.
Am I the only one who's beyond livid?
No.
My first time seeing that. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who says that's a different person from the Kash Patel who appeared on Nick DiPaolo's show?
No, it's actually the same guy. Same guy. Yeah.
Different person, the guy who appeared before Glenn Beck.
Oh, I see. So he's a clone. That's probably what it is. We should have been listening to QAnon all along. They made a Kash Patel clone. You can tell because this one doesn't have googly eyes.
That is a different man.
Nope. Same fucker.
Why?
Because he works for Donald Trump and Donald Trump is all over those files. And if it's the last thing he does, he's going to stop as much of that coming out in his lifetime as he possibly can. And if you think the Kennedy files were buried deep, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Why?
Because Donald Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend for 25 fucking years, and his only friend before that was Roy Cohn. Both men admit to having sex with minors. I mean, it's a good, if you're asking why, that's a solid answer.
And just to be clear, leftist media, those of you watching right now, they will say, oh, see, here you go. Conservatives not willing to accept the truth. That's why they're more damaging. Huh? Because they're allowing the left to set the narrative. Do you think you're crazy?
Also, I don't call me the left or the right, whatever you want. Since horseshoe theory has turned into snake emblem, two snakes facing each other, but they are one. There's an element of they use left as a pejorative, so whatever. Just straight up as a Democrat, I will tell you this. I'm not. Well, let's see what his first what his assertion in this circumstance is before I answer what I think his charge will be about how that's why Kash Patel is terrible, because he allows the left to weaponize this talking point. Instead of Kash Patel shows the world what hypocrites and liars you guys are and what a sycophant you are to have bought this line of bullshit when Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter fucking century. And the question I will ask you, Steven Crowder, any of the other dickheads on your panel, how long would it have taken you to figure out that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile? Less than a decade, I would hope. Less than 2 decades. Perhaps just short of 25 years. One would hope. You would go, God, this is fucking hinky. Every time I see this guy, he can't have this many nieces. He doesn't have any brothers and sisters. So where the fuck, that I know of, where the fuck are all these kids coming from? This is some Warren Jeffries shit. Why? Is it Jeffers? Warren Jeffers? I don't care.
And just to be clear, leftist media, those of you watching right now, they will say, oh, see, here you go. Conservatives not willing to accept the truth. That's why they're more damaging.
Yeah, we're not going, oh, you're not willing to accept the truth about Epstein hanging himself. I think a lot of people are still on the fence about the myriad of possibilities could be there. I would argue that this White House has more of an impetus to hide what actually happened to Jeffrey Epstein than any other White House that could ever exist. Because it's his buddy.
Because they're allowing the left to set the narrative.
He's pointing right at me. I feel seen.
Do you think you're crazy?
Crazy like a fox. Oh.
Think you're crazy because you don't believe that Jeffrey Epstein hung himself in a cell?
The left doesn't believe that.
The left doesn't believe it, but
they don't? What do they think happened?
The left will make you out to be crazy. They'll make you out to be an extremist. And you know what they will use as Exhibit A? Even Kash Patel.
No. We bypassed this talking point entirely and went to, why would you expect the truth from Kash Patel? He works for Donald Trump, who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter century. This has nothing to do with whether he fucking killed himself or not. That's incidental to the entire conspiracy that is obviously going on here. If Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are looking at files that involve all of the cases against Donald Trump and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and the flight logs that they have and all the investigation that's gone on in the New York's FBI office or in the Florida FBI office, if they put all that shit together, there is no fucking way that they're not spending their time looking at Donald Trump's name with a big fucking black marker in their hand.
Knows how crazy it is.
That's one thing that the country came together on.
Yeah.
That's one thing everyone goes, yeah, there's no way he killed himself.
Because Donald Trump was his buddy and they were in it together, and he could, if anybody could spill the beans on Donald Trump, it would be him, and Donald Trump is president and in charge of the entire justice system in the United States. And you mean because of that reason?
He was killed. Why don't we trust your institutions?
Not Patel.
Why do we trust our institutions? I don't know, especially when Donald Trump is the head of said institution.
He breaks ranks with you on that. Man who's the head of the FBI thinks you're nuts.
No, I don't think he thinks you're nuts. I think he thinks he's got a job to do, and it's not working for you, it's working for Donald Trump. It's about Donald Trump's nuts that are currently on Steven Crowder's forehead, and he has zero complaints about that.
If you believe that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, or at least you weren't given the whole story, he just said, no, the whole story's legitimate. Kash Patel, your guy, is he still your guy? He's not my guy. Not my guy.
He was your guy. He was your guy at the beginning of this fucking clip, dum-dum.
Mr. Patel, but you are welcome to come on this show. Just come on this show for what it is. I bet you won't.
I bet you won't come on this show, because why would you? Again, what are you just said you're not going to sandbag him. So even if he did show up and he said, well, we're working on it as best we can and I know it's an issue, Shut the fuck up. So there's a lot of this going around, okay? Now, you'll hear the left as a pejorative in our next clip as well. By the way, hit the like, share the show, etc., etc. I was not expecting to spend as much time on that video as I did, but there's so much insanity in that shit. It's stunning. No one would. Sam Cedar will, though. Well, Sam Cedar went on via Ethan's show or something. Ethan Klein, that show, right? Didn't he jump in when they were having a debate? And that was the whole thing, that Crowder thought he was being, blindsided by Cedar being there because he's better with the facts than Ethan was. So he brought in a pinch hitter to debate him because he wouldn't debate Sam, and that was kind of stuff. And again, this is that interpersonal web shit that I find annoying and very Bravo network, if you know what I mean. But even still, he couldn't stand up to that, and good on Sam for doing it.